Screwed podcast. Okay, well, I don't know what episode we're on. I have no fucking clue whatsoever anymore. I don't even ask. It's like 150s something. I don't fucking.
It's 155 to between 155 and 160.
I haven't even looked at it recently.
Right.
So, I'm going to start out today's episode talking about Trumpy.
Trumper?
Yeah, old Trumpers.
He's up to something?
Well, he pissed some people off recently. Okay, well,
Donald Trump?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, you know the wildfires that's been going on in California, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so he, during his campaign and recently, he was posting, because he hates the governor of California, right? Despises this guy. So he kept posting that this guy, like, basically wanted to save, like, this fish population, so he was diverting water from Southern California so that it would save the fish population of this thing, which, for all reports, that's completely fake. The guy didn't really do this. But, so he said this, that if you divert the water, it's going to cause more environmental problems and wildfires. So because of the wildfires, you know, you'd think he'd be sympathetic being the president-elect and this and that. No, he went on his True Social Media and posted a big picture of the Hollywood Hills with, instead of the Hollywood sign there, it said, "Trump is right," with the wildfires going on in the background.
Nice.
I said, yeah, you're a dick. You're
Oh, yeah.
But you gotta love the balls on this guy, I swear to God.
He's gonna pat himself on the fucking back.
This motherfucker has a set of brass balls the size of fucking LA, dude, I'm telling you.
But
What is?
I do find the fires suspicious. I do.
Well, it's like one guy said when he read Trump's post, he said, no, what you should say is Gore was right, because he tried to warn us about this like 30 fucking years ago when he said climate change was happening.
Well, and why do the reservoirs have no water? Why is there no water in the fire hydrants?
Well, because it's Southern California. I mean,
I know, but it's also right on the ocean.
Well,
so,
yeah, but you know, you'd think you could at least pump the ocean water in there somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely, you can. Why couldn't you? I mean, there's a whole.
I mean, it is salt
entire body of water.
I mean, it is salt water. I'll give you, but
yeah,
it's not for drinking. But I don't think it would hurt the fire the department to use it. I mean,
correct.
I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why they can't. I don't fucking know.
I'm not
an environmentalist or anything like that, so I couldn't tell you. But I mean, clearly there's not enough water in the South because you build LA in the middle of a desert. I mean, most people leave the desert. These jackasses want to build the biggest city in the United States right in the middle of it. So, I mean, wildfires are wildfires. My question is, I understand there's a lot of heat and it's a desert, there's woods and such, and things catch fire because of the heat. But, Smokey the Bear tried to tell us for years, only you
can
prevent those forest fires.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been out there in, LA starting your little campfire.
Right.
But anyways.
What are we talking about then?
I digress. Today we're going to talk about a serial killer who is named Richard Francis Cottingham. Cottingham. I like his name.
Cottingham. What
are
you doing, sir?
Oh, Francis Cottingham.
That's Sir Francis Cottingham.
Yes. But he's also known as the Torso Killer or the Times Square Ripper. I wonder who gives all these, there's got to be reporters that just sit around and go, what can we call this guy? What can we...
Times Square Ripper's pretty good.
I like that, the Torso Killer.
So I'm guessing Torso Killer is for a reason.
It's because when he convicted, There we go. Convicted. Is that even a word?
No.
No,
Not
even
even
close.
But it is a terrific
It
word.
is a shot.
If you're wanting to play the drinking game, it's just about the best word you could have. So everybody take out your shot.
Oh, fuck, I say
Take out your
convicted.
shot glass and your favorite beverage, and it's time to get convicted up in here.
It's time to get convicted.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a drinking game, this is a good segue right into that. If I fuck up a word, God knows I just did.
Yeah.
I said that with my full chest too. It wasn't even like I tried to.
You said it so convincingly that you
I thought,
almost convinced yourself that it was a word.
I know, it almost
Is that a
sounded
word?
like-
It should be.
It should be convicted. That's a great one. But if I fuck up a word or just completely say a word that isn't even in the dictionary, like what I just did, please take a shot of your favorite alcoholic beverage. The word I was trying to say was when he committed. See, what happened was I was looking at convicted. And I was trying to say committed, and I said convicted. So when he committed the murders, he mutilated a lot of the corpses. So that's why they called him the Torso Killer or the Times Square Ripper. So he was also known as the Times Square Killer, but to me that doesn't really.
No, Ripper much better.
Yeah, Ripper's much better. So. He got convicted of 9 and he confessed to a further 8 of them, so all of 17. But he confessed under a non-prosecution agreement to 8. Now he got multiple life sentences in New Jersey prisons because most of his crimes were committed in New Jersey, which again kind of brings me to the point that really can he be called the Times Square Ripper because, I mean, most of his crimes were committed in New Jersey. You know, not really New York. Some of them were committed
But
in
New
New York.
Jersey and New York's are right there, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, New Jersey's right next to New York. But,
Yeah.
He served multiple life sentences in New Jersey prisons. In 2009, decades after his first 5 murder convictions, Cottingham told a journalist that he had committed at least 80 perfect murders of women.
80?
80.
Jesus.
He admitted to 80 later on of women in various regions of the United States. So here's his background. We'll start with that. So he was born on November 25th, 1946 in Mott Haven neighborhood in the Bronx of New York City. He was the first 4 children, and in 1948 his family moved to Dumont, New Jersey, and in 1956 to Rivervale, New Jersey, where he began his fascination with bondage pornography. Of course he did.
Oh, yeah.
Of course he did. Nothing like good bondage pornography. I don't know about you, Jason.
Well, you can only watch your basic pornography for so long before
Yeah.
it just doesn't do it for you anymore, Brian. Not that I know.
Yeah, I know. Eventually,
experience.
You gotta watch a little bondage.
Yeah, because when they flash
Yeah.
they flash it up there in front of your face.
Yeah.
Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah, let's see what happens. You know, sometimes, you know, it's like Ted 2 said. You know, if you've ever watched Ted 2, you know, sometimes you want to see the tongue go the other way, Jason.
Correct.
He looks at the computer. I'll never forget that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes of any movie. If you haven't seen Ted 2, guys, definitely go watch it. It's hilarious. But the teddy bear opens his computer and he goes, "Oh my God, there's so much porn." And he goes, "Why are you looking at my private shit?" And he goes, "Private shit? It was right there in the open when I opened the computer." He's like, look at the organization. Rim jobs, reverse rim jobs. And Mark Wahlberg goes, "Well, sometimes you want to see the tongue go the other way." Oh. So yeah, sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
you go down a rabbit hole when you're looking at porn, the next thing you know, you're into bondage. Again, not that we would know anything about that. Nothing about horse cock and virgin pussy or anything of that
Right,
nature.
right.
Yeah. We're not weirdos or anything on this end of the spectrum, no sir. Osays, okay.
Osage.
Osay, there's a shot! Please take a shot. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were going into the
No, I'm
national anthem.
No, I just fucked up. So according to Cottingham, the whole idea of bondage had aroused and fascinated him since he was very young. He had a close relationship with his mother growing up, but reportedly had difficulty making friends as a teenager. I wonder if he ever had a close relationship with his mother and then was like, you know what I'd like to say, just wants her bound up on the couch there.
Yeah, he may have.
Yeah. So in 1964, he graduated from Pascack Valley High School in Hillsdale, New Jersey. He was a member of the cross-country and track and field team. He worked for Metropolitan Life after he graduated, where his father was vice president, starting in the mailroom at the firm's Manhattan headquarters and eventually becoming a computer operator. In 1966, he became a computer operator for Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, where he worked until his 1980 arrest. It's funny because Cottingham actually worked in the office of Rodney Alcala. And we talked about Rodney Alcala, if you'll remember. He was the dating game killer.
Okay.
Remember, he was the one who went on the dating game show and murdered a bunch of women.
Yeah.
And went on there and tried to get a victim off the dating game.
Right.
And it's funny because Rodney Alcala was in the office of Cottingham. They worked together, but didn't even know each other. Were both serial killers and didn't really know each other that well at all. But they worked exactly in the same office at the same place.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
So he was married in 1970. He had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. In 1978, 8 years after he was married, his wife filed for divorce on the grounds of abandonment and mental cruelty. But his wife withdrew the petition upon his arrest in 1980. But she completed the divorce in 1981. Cottingham was arrested on several lesser charges throughout his killing spree, but police were not aware of any of the murders at the time. Well, of course they weren't.
No.
No, of course not.
That's tough.
In fact, they were not even aware that there was a serial killer active in the tri-state area.
No, it's normal. People getting killed. That's another day
and mutilated. You know.
I'm busy. I got paperwork to do.
So, in 1969, he was convicted of drunk driving in New York and was fined $50.
Damn, that's cheap back in.
It's amazing. Nowadays, you go to jail for stuff like this. Back in '69, you were caught driving drunk. Here's $50. Just
right.
Pay the fine. Go back to drinking and driving, motherfucker. Running over innocent pedestrians is perfectly fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it. As long as you got your 50.
So in '72, he was charged with shoplifting at a department store and was sentenced to pay another $50 fine.
Damn.
Jesus Christ. In '73, he was arrested for robbery, oral sodomy, and sexual abuse on a prostitute and her pimp.
Wonder which one he orally sodomized.
But neither the pimp nor the prostitute showed up for the court hearing, and the case was dismissed. Can't expect a pimp and a prostitute to take time out of their busy schedule to come to court. I
mean, you can see where they kind of might be a little weary of the courtroom.
Yeah, maybe. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're committing crimes. Yes, sir. He was
Thanks.
supposed to pay me,
I haven't-
and he didn't pay me. He slapped me around and then gave me my pimp head.
Yeah.
And the pimp was telling him the whole time, "Quit it, bitch! Quit it!" So in '74, Cottingham was arrested in New York for robbery and unlawful imprisonment on the complaint of another prostitute. Once again, the prostitute did not appear and the case was dismissed.
So yeah, Cottingham has found a loophole.
Yeah, if I imprison prostitutes and kidnap them
Well, anything I get in trouble for having to
and
deal with
rob
prostitutes
her
ain't gonna
yeah.
matter because this bitch ain't
So
showing up.
this one, he kidnapped, had sex with, robbed, took all her money, and you know, she's not gonna show up to court anyways, fuck
Yeah.
it. So in 1980, he got his final arrest. He was picked up. He picked up an 18-year-old prostitute, Leslie Ann Odell, and they checked into a Quality Inn, which you know, of course he did, because he couldn't afford a high-class hotel. He had to use the old Quality Inn.
Oh yeah.
He offered to give Odell a massage, and she rolled onto her stomach. He straddled her back, he drew a knife and put it to her throat as he snapped a pair of handcuffs on her wrist. He began torturing her, nearly biting off one of her nipples.
Oh.
She later testified that he said, "You have to take it, whore." Like the other girls did. You have to take it. You're a dirty whore and you're going to be punished.
Yes.
So at one point, Odell reached under the bed for the fake gun that Cottingham had threatened her with, thinking it was real, and attempted to shoot him with it. When it did not fire, Cottingham came at her with a knife. She screamed, "Oh God, no." The screams brought the hotel employees to the room and they called the police. He was arrested in the hallway at gunpoint. When arrested, he had handcuffs, a leather gag, 2 slave collars, a switchblade knife, fake pistols, and a stockpile of prescription pills.
Yeah, he's reenacting these fucking bondage pornos.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's his murders. Cottingham claims to have started killing as an adolescent and has claimed to have killed as many as 100 women. Cottingham often sought sex workers in their late teens to mid-20s and is believed to have killed people in Florida, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Baltimore. He would approach his victims in bars, drug them, take them to remote locations. He would bind, gag, and torture and stab them before killing them by strangulation or asphyxiation. He would take trophies like jewelry and other personal items belonging to his victims. So, here's his murders that he was actually convicted of. So at approximately 7 a.m. on the morning of December 16, 1977, the body of X-ray technologist Mary Ann Carr, 26, was found between a parked van and a chain-link fence in Little Ferry, New Jersey. She was still wearing her white nurse's uniform, but her shoes were missing. Carr was last seen on December 15th in the parking lot of the Ledgewood Terrace Apartments, where Cottingham and his wife had previously resided. Cottingham kidnapped her from the apartment complex and took her to a Quality Inn in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. He loves his Quality Inns, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He likes them. Once he was inside, Cottingham beat, bit, slashed, and raped her. She had been restrained and then strangled with a ligature. Afterwards, Cottingham dumped her in the parking lot of the Quality Inn not far from the apartment. Carr had been handcuffed on her wrists, ankles, as well as there was remnants of adhesive tape on her mouth. He was convicted of her murder in October 12, 1982. So on May 5th, 1980, the body of Valerie Ann Street, 19, a sex worker, was found by a motel worker at the same Quality Inn where Cottingham had dumped Carr's body. Well, at least he's consistent. Not only is he using Quality Inns, but he's using the same one.
Yeah.
That's what Quality Inn said about Cottingham after he was arrested. You know what? He might have been a murderer, but he was a hell of a customer.
Yeah.
That should be their new slogan.
I mean,
Quality Inn, where you go to murder prostitutes.
hey, his money spends just like everyone else's.
He killed her and stuffed her body under the bed for housekeeping to find. That's just fucking rude. That's just fucking rude. Housekeeping found her under the bed. She had been handcuffed and 2 ligature marks were on her throat. They also determined that she had been gagged with white adhesive tape. She had bite marks on her breast, in addition to being bitten all over her body and her head. She had numerous minor knife incisions on her breast. 1 fingerprint belonging to Cottingham was recovered from the ratchet mechanism of the handcuffs left behind. He was convicted of her murder on June 12, 1981.
This dude loves biting breasts.
Yeah, he
and
does.
nipples.
Yeah, he does. In 1984 trial in New York, Cottingham was also convicted in the deaths of 3 additional women, which occurred in New York between 79 and 80. In New York, he used the Travel Lodge Motor Inn, and he made a call actually to a fire department in 1979 on December 2nd at around 9 a.m. The call was made as a result of the personnel discovering significant smoke inside the room. A do not disturb sign had been hanging on the door latch of the room, which had been rented by an alias Carl Wilson since November of 29th of 1979. So he'd been renting it for a couple weeks. So 2 naked females' bodies were discovered by the firefighters on 2 different beds. Prior to their deaths, the women had been brutalized, and the murderer had burned their bodies. Both women's hands had been severed, and the killer had also beheaded them. The missing body parts were never found. A later autopsy revealed that the women had both been tortured and sexually assaulted while they were still alive for several days. They were both prostitutes, and one of them was never identified. She was just referred to as Manhattan Jane Doe, and she was between the age of 16 and 22. In a 2009 interview, Cottingham admitted to the murders and claimed that he had severed the heads and hands of the victims to prevent identification. Mary Ann Jean Reiner was discovered on May 15, 1980 in the Seville Hotel in New York City. Investigators discovered that Reiner's attacker had cut her throat and removed both of her breasts before she was actually murdered. So she was still alive and he cut off both of her tits. He had left the breasts on the headboard of the bed right above her head as like trophies in a position right above her.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I swear to God, he nailed them to the bed. Reiner's body had also been set on fire as an attempt to get rid of evidence. After the initial convictions, Cottingham pled his innocence for decades, insisting he had been framed, until he admitted to actually doing the crimes in 2009. They were reviewing cold cases between 1960s and the 70s and up until the 80s. when Cottingham admitted to all the murders he had committed. In 2003, Cottingham admitted to even more murders, and in 2010, Cottingham pled guilty to a 1967 murder in exchange for immunity to prostitution. Or prosecution. I fucked up again, goddamn, that's another shot! Fuck, that's 3 in one episode, Jason. I'm fucking up left and right. So, in 2014, Cottingham confessed to murdering 3 teenage girls in 1967. In 2014, in the 3 cold case murders, with agreement from the victims' families, they agreed not to prosecute him if he confessed. So he talked about other cases in 2019. In 2021, Cottingham confessed to an unsolved 1974 double homicide in Montvale, New Jersey, which was a very notorious cold case. Marianne Della Sala, 17, disappeared at the end of her shift in 1967 from a ShopRite in Hackensack, New Jersey. Her body was found 3 months later on April 20th. She'd been strangled, and police concluded that she was killed elsewhere and then thrown in the river. There was no signs of sexual assault on this one, though. And he also admitted to Nancy Bubby Vogel, 29, a married mother of 2, and she was found dead in her automobile, bound and naked, in Ridge Park, New Jersey, in 1967. He took her to a field in Montvale where he sexually assaulted and strangled her there. He also admitted to a 1968 murder of Jacqueline Harp, who was 13 years old at the time. She'd been beaten about the face and been strangled with a leather strap from her flag sling because she was in the band. He raped her. Her clothes had been removed. Cottingham claimed that he attempted to persuade Harp to get in his car, but she resisted. So then he kidnapped her and drove his car in front of Harp and stopped and walked over to her. Cottingham grabbed her as she attempted to flee, dragged her into the bushes where he raped and killed her and beat her. So then Irene Blass, 18, 1969, she had been strangled with a chain from a crucifix she was wearing. Cottingham confessed that he saw Blaze shopping in Hackensack, New Jersey, and convinced her to join him for a drink. After which Cottingham took her for a drink and then convinced her to spend some time with him. He said he was going to take her to a bus station, but then he drove to a remote location where he raped and stabbed her and strangled her and killed her. Then 1969, he killed Denise Falaska, 15. She was walking down the side of the road when he pulled up next to her and offered her a ride. Shortly after, he drove to a parking lot of his former school. He forced her to perform oral sex on him. He said he was dissatisfied with the sexual experience because she didn't know what she was doing. He said, the bitch tried to give me head, but she couldn't suck a dick worth shit, so I had to strangle her.
We've all been there.
Guess so, I
mean. Wow.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. He also, in 2022, confessed to many, many, many other killings. There's way too many to go over.
Yeah.
But there was 100 in total. Basically the same basic concept. He kidnapped these women. He would strangle them and kill them.
And he liked cutting off their titties.
And later on he liked cutting off their titties. He also would behead quite a few of them that he later admitted to later on. He beheaded them and cut off different body parts to avoid prosecution, which is why a lot of these were cold cases.
Yeah.
But he was only convicted of 9, which he got 9 life sentences in New Jersey for all his murders. The rest of them were non-prosecution agreements, but yeah, he admitted and had details on over 100 murders throughout the years of 1969 to 1980 when he was actually, so.
Wow.
He killed well over 100 women, which makes him in the top, probably, 5% of serial killers. I mean,
Yeah,
he's up there with Bundy and the rest
Once
of
he
them.
started killing, he didn't stop.
Yeah, he didn't stop.
Right.
Yeah. So this was our episode on old Cottingham there, old Richard.
Old Times Square Ripper.
Old Times Square Ripper, among many other places. And we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.
Later.